Hello, and thank you for joining us here on the Clarity Core. Today we'll be exploring the topic New Active Recall Explained, the only study method that truly works. Most people think studying is about reading. They highlight pages. They underline sentences. They rewatch the same videos. They reread the same chapters. And they feel productive. But days later, they forget almost everything. The problem is not intelligence. The problem is the method. Because the truth is simple. Most people don't know how to study. They know how to look busy. They know how to stare at information. But they don't know how to make knowledge stick. And there is one method that changes everything. It's not new. It's not complicated. It's not expensive. It's called active recall. And it is the only study method that truly works. In this video, you are going to understand why traditional studying fails, how your brain actually stores memory, what active recall really is, how students and professionals use it to learn faster, and how to build a simple system you can use every day. This is not about studying harder. This is about studying correctly. Let's begin. Every year, millions of students work incredibly hard. Long nights, coffee, stress, anxiety. They feel tired. They feel overwhelmed. They feel stuck. And yet, their results don't match their effort. This creates a dangerous belief. I'm just not smart enough. But that belief is wrong. These students aren't unintelligent. They're just using a broken system. The traditional study system is built on passive learning. Passive learning feels safe. You sit, you read, you watch, you listen. But your brain stays asleep. It doesn't struggle. It doesn't stretch. It doesn't grow. Imagine going to the gym and just watching someone else lift weights. That's how passive studying works. It feels like progress, but it produces no real strength. Here is the truth about the human brain. The brain does not remember information by seeing it. The brain remembers information by retrieving it. This is where active recall becomes powerful. Learning happens when your brain is forced to pull information out of itself. Not when information is pushed in. This changes everything. So, what is active recall? Active recall is the process of testing yourself before you feel ready. Instead of reading notes, you close your book, you look away, and you ask, what can I remember? You don't check immediately. You struggle. You think. You force your brain to search. That struggle is where real learning happens. Let's make it simple. Passive learning looks like this. Read, highlight, reread, forget. Active recall looks like this. Study, close book, test yourself, strengthen memory. One is easy, one is effective. Why does this work so well? Because the brain is lazy. It only strengthens pathways that are used. Every time you retrieve information, your brain says, this must be important. I'll keep it. Every time you just reread, your brain says, this is not urgent. I can forget it. This is neuroscience, not motivation. Let's talk about the illusion of learning. Have you ever reread a page and thought, oh yeah, I know this? That's not learning. That's familiarity. Your brain recognizes the words, but it cannot produce them on its own. Real knowledge is not recognition. Real knowledge is recall. Let's move to practical steps. You don't need apps. You don't need expensive tools. You only need a system. Step 1. Read once. Only once. Read your material a single time. Not 3 times, not 5 times, 1 time. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is exposure. Step 2. Close everything. Close the book. Close your laptop. Look away. Now the real work begins. Step 3. Ask yourself questions. Ask simple questions like, what were the main ideas? What keywords do I remember? Can I explain this concept? Can I write it from memory? This feels uncomfortable. That's good. Discomfort means learning. Step 4. Check and correct. Now look back at the material. Don't judge yourself. Don't feel ashamed. Just compare. What did I miss? What did I remember correctly? That gap is where your improvement happens. This is active recall, And it works with everything: textbooks, videos, lectures, courses, skills, languages, anything that lives in your brain. Let's talk about how students use this. A student studying biology reads one chapter, closes the book, writes everything remembered, checks mistakes, repeats weekly. Result? They remember more with half the time. A law student reads case law, closes the document, explains the case from memory, finds weak points, fills gaps. Result? Stronger understanding, not just memorization. A language learner studies vocabulary, covers translations, tries recalling meanings, fails often. Result? Long-term language retention. Active recall isn't for smart people. It's for people who want real results. Now let's talk about professionals. This method isn't just for school. Doctors use it to memorize symptoms. Lawyers use it to retain case logic. Engineers use it to master systems. Managers use it to retain strategies. The method scales with difficulty. The harder the subject, the more powerful the method. One of the greatest combinations: active recall plus spaced repetition. Active recall strengthens memory. Spaced repetition times your review. Instead of studying everything every day, you review only when your brain is about to forget. This creates exponential learning. Here's a simple weekly structure. Day 1, learn plus recall. Day 2, recall again. Day 4, recall again. Day 7, recall again. You don't reread, you retrieve. Let's talk about notes. Most people write notes passively. They copy. They rewrite sections. They highlight. These are not learning. With active recall, notes look different. You write questions, not answers. You build your brain to search. A powerful strategy is called the blurting method. Here's how. Take a blank sheet. Write everything you remember about the topic. No cheating, no checking, pure memory. Then compare. This single exercise beats hours of passive study. Let's address fear. Active recall feels scary. You feel stupid. You feel behind. You feel slow. But this is an illusion. Feeling stupid is a sign of growth. The brain only grows when it is challenged. Comfort is not learning. Struggle is learning. Why most people don't use active recall? Because it doesn't feel good. It feels hard. You see your weaknesses instantly. Ego hates that, but growth loves it. Your brain is like a muscle. No tension equals no growth. Active recall creates tension. Let's compare outcomes. Student who rereads, feels confident, forgets quickly, panics before exams. Student who uses active recall, feels slow, feels challenged, but performs under pressure. The second student wins. Let's talk about time. Active recall saves time. Yes, it feels harder in the moment, but it reduces total hours dramatically. You study less and remember more. That is leverage. Let's talk about confidence. Confidence does not come from rereading. Confidence comes from knowing you can recall. Active recall builds real confidence. You don't need perfect tools. You can do this with paper pen notes app, flashcards, whiteboard. The method matters. Tools are secondary. Let's build your daily system. Here's a simple formula. Learn, recall, check, repeat later. That's it. You don't need complexity. You need consistency. Let's destroy a common myth. Studying longer does not equal learning more. Studying better equals learning more. Active recall is better. Here's what happens over time. Week 1, difficult. Week 2, noticeable progress. Week 3, strong retention. Month 2, confidence. Month 3, mastery. This is real. Let's talk about memory. Memory is not talent. Memory is training. Active recall trains memory. Let's talk about IQ. This method benefits average students the most because high performers already do this naturally. You are learning a skill used by top performers. You are not late. You are not behind. You are learning the correct method. That changes everything. Let's talk about motivation. Motivation fades. Systems last. Active recall is a system. Let's talk about perfection. You don't need perfect recall. You need consistent practice. Now let's simplify everything. The rule of active recall. If you can't recall it without looking, you don't know it. That's it. Let's prepare for real life. In real life. No one gives you multiple choice tests. You must recall on your own. This method prepares you for reality. Let's talk about the future. The world will reward fast learners, clear thinkers, adaptable minds. Active recall builds all three. Here's the truth. You were never bad at studying. You were never stupid. You were never incapable. You were just taught the wrong method. Now you know the right one. Final thoughts. Active recall is not a trick. It is not a hack. It is not a shortcut. It is the way the brain was designed to learn. Make it a habit. Make it a system. Make it your advantage. If this video helped you understand how to study smarter using active recall, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is the Clarity Core, where learning becomes power.